Hi everyone, this is my first time doing something like this. I actually tried to make a video last night and apparently the sound wasn't on. So tonight I'm going to give a quick recap of what I talked about in my 20-minute long video yesterday. But basically I wanted to make this video to give everyone an idea of what it's like to live in Singapore during the coronavirus. Little background for those that don't know, I moved to Singapore last week. I was super excited. The coronavirus had just hit Singapore and my boss actually asked me if I still wanted to go, and I was like, definitely, everything's okay. There's like 2 cases, it's fine. My company, was double checking if I should still go. I got evaluated by a doctor. Flash forward literally 5 days and we're in like crisis mode. But it's really not that bad. So I wanted to tell people what it's like here. From the perspective of someone that just moved to this new country, and this is pretty much all I've known. So I feel like I'm going through waves of like scared, not scared, scared, not scared. And that has a lot to do with the environment I'm in. So for instance, today at work, totally chill, everything was normal, kind of forgot about the coronavirus for a while, and just plugged away at work, had meetings, had friendly conversations, and then, you go out to the subway and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, the coronavirus. So the subway and public areas have been pretty quiet. I take the subway to work because it's the most convenient. Also because there was a couple of confirmed cases that were taxi drivers. And the way I look at it is, well, at least no one's taking the subway. And of the people taking the subway, about 1/3 of them are wearing masks. So I feel pretty safe. I'm not gonna lie, I literally don't touch anything. I'm talking like I get on the subway and nothing. I don't hold on to anything. I don't touch the railing. I like tap my card on the thing and I get into the subway and I sit down. If I can't sit down, I am like bracing my back against the wall somewhere, like using my elbow. I don't touch a single thing, and I still use hand sanitizer once I get off. It is funny though, because like I said, about 1/3 of people are wearing masks outside, even though the government has told us again and again that masks should really only be worn by people who are currently sick, or I guess if you're in loud crowds, or large crowds, but yeah, still like 1/3 of people are wearing it. What's interesting is people have kind of turned it into like a fashion trend. So, for instance, I saw someone with like a pink hijab, and she had a matching pink face mask. Or like I saw a guy with like this like souped up black mask with like patterns and like special filtering. And it's almost like a sign of like, oh, I have money. Like I've got this cool filtered mask, not just like a paper mask. And so people have kind of turned it into this like fashion statement here, which is a little silly. Also, there's kind of these like multi-level economies here in Singapore. And a lot of it has to do with cultural breakdown, to be honest. And most of the people wearing masks are Chinese, which I guess makes sense because who knows like what their prior experience with this is. For all we know, they have family in China. But I'll notice that like Indian people here, no one's wearing a mask. Expats, no one's wearing a mask. Singaporeans, no one's really wearing a mask. Like it's really only like the Chinese nationals that are wearing masks, which is kind of, I won't say ironic, I guess, just difference of culture. And then the expats are actually the people that I've hanging out with the most recently, just because it's a pretty easy community to get into. Everyone's very friendly. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that friends are very transient and people are known for coming and going. So everyone's extremely friendly. It's been really easy to make friends. Within my first week here, I've already gone to like multiple group events, which is funny because the expats don't really seem too worried about this. Like obviously there's the precautions and like the basics that you should be washing your hands all the time, but like I went to a ladies' brunch on Sunday. There's maybe like 12 of us at brunch. And we had a great time. I honestly forgot about the coronavirus until like something happens and it's mentioned, and all of a sudden it's like a conversation topic, and people are, oh, what are you doing? Oh, how's your work handling it? But totally normal brunch, like met some new friends. I met a couple of really cool girls that I can't wait to hang out with again. But just like normal life, everything was great. And then I actually went out on a bar crawl the other night with a bunch of people. And again, totally forgot about the coronavirus for a while. Like, was out with people, I wasn't really drinking too much, but everyone's drinking, going to different bars, people were dancing, having a good time. I guess maybe people are saying that the streets are a lot quieter, which I think is nice because, if people are staying indoors to avoid crowds, then it means that all the public spaces are really accessible, and it almost makes me feel safer because no one's there. So there's no one for me to catch the virus from. But yeah, life's been weird because things will be totally, totally normal, and then, you'll turn the corner and all of a sudden you see like 6 people wearing a mask. So, a little weird. I feel pretty safe, but there's definitely like moments of panic. And I think like one of the first big moments of panic for me was on Sunday morning. I went to a workout class in the morning, and it's 80 degrees all the time here, minimum, right? So I go to this workout class. It's outside. It's in the Botanic Garden. Beautiful. It's like the Singapore version of Central Park, except 10 times cleaner. And after the class, I'm dripping sweat, right? Like super hot, just like heated in general. I take the subway home. It's like a 20-minute subway ride. I get back to the hotel. It's like 10 in the morning, and they started implementing temperature checks. And that was the first moment when I was like, ooh, this is a little freaky. And they have pretty much since implemented them everywhere. Every time I come into my hotel, every time I go into the office, every time you go into a bar now, I've noticed, maybe not every time, but most bars are doing temperature checks. So just like a quick, like, whoop, they just like hold up a little thermometer to your forehead. And I guess that's to prevent anyone who's currently sick. The sucky part is that we don't really know the incubation period, so someone could go in without a fever, and for all we know, they're already infected, and they just aren't quite showing symptoms yet, and they're infecting other people. So it's a good precaution, but it's not going to be life-changing, or maybe it will. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but it is a little freaky that you have to do temperature checks everywhere. One other thing that's kind of interesting is that everyone who has a Singaporean cell phone is in this like giant government WhatsApp. And it sounds a little creepy because you're like, the government's sending you all these messages. But I'm kind of jealous of my friends that have it, because we'll be sitting at brunch or I'll be hanging out with them and like bing bing, like their phone goes off and it's like whoop, government message with like all the details about any updates, like, we're in orange stage because XYZ, or new person identified. It was a 60-year-old male. He had recently been to China. Da, 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 da. So they tell you everything. They're being really transparent. I think that's one thing that I really like about Singapore. People are like, oh, Singapore has so many cases. Yes, but that's because they're documenting every single case. And they're tracing down anyone that's been in a physical contact with someone that is diagnosed with the virus. So I take the case numbers at face value. Like, I'm sure that's what it actually is, versus other countries that don't have quite the healthcare infrastructure that exists in Singapore. They're saying they have 10 cases, but for all you know, people just aren't reporting, or people, are going to clinics and not getting seen in time, or not being diagnosed properly. Like, we have no idea, So I do feel safe that Singapore is very on top of everything. As you can see, I'm still in a hotel, week 2. Hopefully, I'll be moving into an apartment this weekend. I emailed my team and was like, we need to expedite this process because I would just feel a little safer in a hotel, or in an apartment than a hotel, mostly because I know my hotel's not having a conference, but other hotels are having conferences, and like that's where a lot of people got sick from. It's great that the hotel staff is cleaning my room, but then I also have to remember like someone came into my room, and so even when I get home from work, I'm still like wiping down the door handle just in case. And also food. Like, Lord knows I hate to cook, but I'd love to have somewhere to keep food, like packaged food, and store some food that I can make on my own instead of relying on hotel food and, room service or like a nearby restaurant, just because like you don't really know who's preparing your food. I guess that's kind of a thing too. So Singapore is known for their hawker centers, which are like these cheap food courts that you can go to and get really, really good food. And I was really excited. I'm like, yes, like, Michelin star, $5 food, like this is gonna be great. But now everyone's kind of saying like, stay away from places where you don't know they have really high sanitary expectations. So it's kind of a good excuse for me to eat at really nice restaurants, which is what I've been doing. Treating myself. But it is still a little freaky because regardless of like how high quality of a restaurant you go to, you really don't know who's handling your food. You don't know if like they wiped their nose or I don't know, whatever. But hopefully I'll be in the apartment soon. And then the other kind of funny thing is some restaurants, you feel bad. I wonder how the economy is going to take a hit because some of the restaurants are pretty quiet. And like tonight I'm actually going to go to the mall just because I really want a backpack actually for traveling, but I'm gonna go to the mall, and I know that the mall is gonna be completely empty because everyone's avoiding the mall because the mall is where everyone goes. So the mall's gonna be completely dead, and I'll be able to just shop by myself. So kind of interesting times. I feel safe going outside. I had a long conversation with my boss today. He feels safe. I had a conversation with my other manager. She feels safe. Definitely some basic precautions that I'm taking, but I think if anything, it's more like nerves are coming from the fact that other people are like really panicking. But the government keeps telling everyone to stay calm, and I'm feeling good. So I'm going to try and do a video a day or every few days. I'll check in with everyone later. But this is just to kind of give everyone a blanket update of my life as a newly Singaporean living in the coronavirus times. So hopefully I'm reporting pretty accurate information because this is what's happened to me live on the ground. But feel free to let me know if you guys have any updates in the US. Otherwise, love you all, and I will talk to you later.